Hey everybody. So it's been a while. I've been trying to get some videos posted, but I've been so busy with work and just personal stuff. But I'm hoping to start posting again as much as I can. So my goal has always been 2 videos a week. I'll shoot for that, but that's always hit and miss. It all depends on what I'm doing. With that said, though, I try to post stuff on LinkedIn, so be sure to follow me there. You can find that on my YouTube channel. Also, there should be a link below as well if you want to follow me on LinkedIn. I also try to post stuff on my GitHub, so be sure to check that out. You can find the link also below. And definitely check out this Discord channel. There's a lot of cool people here. We've got a variety of different, I think they're called channels. So this is the Discord server. And then here's all the different channels. There's a lot of cool people. I think there's about 400 and something. So 446 members, all members, including the bots that are in there. So anyways, check that out. And I'm using Camtasia right now instead of OBS. OBS kept giving me trouble, so I'm trying Camtasia again. So I don't have the border up. But my other videos, I have a link to the Discord channel. You'll also find a link below as well. So anyways, let's kind of jump into the video. So there was a LinkedIn course, or a LinkedIn video that I watched by Paul F. Albin. And in this particular course, it's Revit tips, tricks, and troubleshooting. So I think he posts a video almost every week. You can see them separated by month. And they go back pretty far, and there's a ton of videos. So LinkedIn Learning has a ton of courses. I don't have any up there, so this isn't me promoting it. I don't get any anything from it. I would just recommend it. There's a lot of awesome people such as Paul that are on this on LinkedIn Learning that cover Revit, Navisworks, Dynamo. There's a lot of stuff out there. So if you're trying to learn tools, BIM stuff, check it out. Anyways, I was watching one of his courses, or this course, and I was looking at one of his videos, understanding the location of leaders and tags. And so there's an issue with rooms because of the tag. The way that the tag works is if the name's too long, it kind of throws it off, and it's not consistent. If it's multi-line, if the text is multi-line, it throws it off, and it just kind of makes it look bad. Now, for some folks, that doesn't matter. For others, I think mostly architects, it does. They want a consistency when it comes to their drawings and when they're annotating stuff. And, that goes for MEP folks and structural as well. There's plenty of people that would like that. Now, unfortunately, at least in Revit 2022, I haven't checked 23, the functionality is kind of limited. Now, there's a workaround, and that's what I'm going to show you today in Dynamo, but it's not, it's a workaround, and it doesn't address all the issues. Now, we won't watch this video. You can check it out here. It's 14 minutes long, but I do have a sample Revit model open. And so this has a few examples. You can see here what I'm talking about when we have multi-line. This line here is way up here when we actually want it right there in the middle of that box. Down here, that's not an issue. Here's another example. So we can see here that we've got the line right there. When we actually want it in the middle, same here. Now, the reason why this is an issue is because I've got a type in there. So I've got a variety of types. Now, it's been a minute since I've went through this Dynamo graph. I built some Python stuff to kind of address these different these various conditions. One being that if it has multi-text, treat it differently. Depending on the quadrant that leader or the line is in, it will treat it differently. So I've got preset types in there. So this one is just the original type. Over here is type 2. So you can see over here room tag 2. And if I grab this and switch it to 1, which it'll know to do this, you can see that it resets. And now the reason why it does that is because it has that little line in there. Unfortunately, we can't make that an instance parameter, and that's why we have to go and create a variety of types. That's one of the unfortunate things. And so I'm going to switch that back because I want to show you guys how it fixes it. It looks at it, it sees that it needs that, because based off of the direction of this, and what I'm looking at when I say direction is this here, this this little break or this elbow, and then the center of this tag. What I was able to do in Dynamo was kind of create some vectors and figure out based off of where the tag was. And I don't have an example here, and I don't have it anymore, but based off of where this was, so if it's here, we know it's in quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is up here, 3 is over here, and 4. So I kind of know based off of where it's at what family or what type I need to associate to that tag. Now I won't go too much into that. The Python, the Dynamo does all of that. The Python functions I built do that. There's a few things to keep in mind when you're using this, if you choose to use this or want to use it as just a learning opportunity, is this here, these lines. So I kind of thought it was like there's some structure to this, like 15 strings or 15 anything that has 14 or 15 more characters in it, and then when you put a space, that space just starts on the second line, and so on. So you can see here we've got string, space, string. So instead of going string, new line, string, it puts it on the same line, and then you've got the next line, and so on. I tried to figure out the logic behind that and how that worked. So the functions may not work perfectly, and I think we'll see that when we run this. But it will fix it and put it down here. Now you can see the line here, because essentially it's a bounding box around this tag and it's centering it. That's where this line is going. But you can see it's offsetted more than what this would be. And now that's an issue, and what happens is we have this line here end up right here. That's the unfortunate issue that we just can't fix. And if you were to make this string like super long, and not super long with spaces, but if you were just one huge string with no spaces, and it was to span out this big, then this line would be way the heck over here. So that's just an issue. Now, right now, or the way that these work when we get into Dynamo, is that we've got, it'll try to figure out the condition. So it'll see, okay, it's not multi-line, so it's probably something like this. And so we either associate type 2 or type 1. Now, if it's multi-line, that's different because of the way that it works. Now, we would probably want to associate, actually that's wrong, associate type 1 to this one, and then for these, we'd actually want to create a separate type. And that's where it gets a little bit more complicated, and why I was talking about the string and just how it figures out when it needs to put a string on a new line rather than keep it on a single line, is because we have to figure out what the height of that tag is, because then if we know what the height is, then we know how to offset this line here, which is a line that I've added to the family. Now, because, as I mentioned before, it's not an instance parameter, it is a type parameter. And that's why we have to have multiple types, and that's why there's multiple types in here. And so you can see here, I've named it left, right. That was before. That's when I thought I could fix the left, right thing where it was offsetting it way off because of the string. This needs to be renamed, but for now I left it. But if we know what the height of the text is, then we can factor in that with the box down here, and then we know what the offset of this line needs to be to make sure that this line is centered on this box. So it's a bit of work, and it's not the best solution. I think it can be improved. And mentioning that, all these scripts and everything that I'm showing you here today is available below. Just check it out. It's on my GitHub, and you can download it. I don't think I've posted this one yet, but by the time this video comes out, I'll have it up on the repo for you guys to use. So over here in Dynamo, I've got a few things. One thing to mention is I've got this Easter script. I wanted to post it on Easter. I had it finished, but I couldn't make a video in time, and so I put it on my repo, but I never let anybody know. That's out there. It's kind of a fun script. Check it out if you like. I had fun building it. But anyways, here's the script here. We'll open up this one. It already works. Now I'm going to talk about it for a minute. But what I hope is that that you guys open this script, use it, kind of check it out and see how it works, and let me know if you have any questions. So we can see here, and I'm going to run it, and then we'll actually kind of look at some of the outputs, and then we'll look at that Python script too. So when I run this, the goal is, and I'm going to switch this to something like that. The goal is that we want all of these to at least be centered. So we want not this elbow, but we want it just like that, close to it, because these won't actually do that. So you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's run it. So I'm going to come over here, click run. It'll take a minute, and then we'll see that they've all been updated. So this is correct, that's correct, that one is. That one's correct, and you can see the offset there. That's correct too. You can see the offset for that. Same here, because it is. I should have associated the same type to it, or actually it does not. I forgot. And you can see this is right. The reason why currently it doesn't associate, because you can build the logic into it, but the way that I've built it so far is that regardless on if it's for the same room or if it's the same text, it just looks at it as it looks at it as if it needs to create a new type, and that's what it did in this case. You can see H93, which is I give it the H just to essentially say, hey, this was a type that was created for this particular, from this script. And then same here, we can see this is H63. You can see there's a ton, and I've, or not a ton, but I've purged out a lot of them, and I think it, I'm not actually sure why it's jumping up to 63 and 45. We can look at it. It might be because when it's looping through it, it's iterating through something. I'm not sure, but let's check. So we get the room tags. This is the active view, because it only runs on the active view. We don't want it running on everything else, unless you want it to, and you can easily change that. Here's the room tag, so that's all it's doing, is it's retrieving the room tags. Here is the Python script, and I haven't opened this probably in a month, so let's go through it, and then I can talk about it, hopefully. So I've got some stuff in here, just some template stuff, so the Dynamo core, the Revit API stuff, some just common locations. So this is like where you'll find like the DLLs, so if you want to use .peek and look at those, some of the custom libraries that I put in here, and then for the most part we're using the Dynamo library, and then down here some Revit stuff. So we've imported the elements. We've got a function down here that gets to the direction of the leader. Now the way that I've done this is I had to use the lookup table, or sorry, the why am I blanking on it? The Revit lookup. So I would look at the leaders and try to figure out what are the parameters, or what are the things that I can extract from it that I could use to potentially find out where it is in that quadrant that you saw. And I kind of made that up, and we'll look at some of the things, because down here is where we actually figure out what quadrant it is in. And so this gets the direction of the leader, and it looks at the line, and it gets the by start, by endpoint, and so it uses the room tag leader elbow, and that turns it into a point so that we can actually make it into a line. And then down here is where we get the tag head position, and so essentially those two things should be this here, and then the tag head position, and then like wherever this is at, because that kind of tells us where, because even if you don't use it, if it's straight, it's a better point than this, because wherever that's at, it kind of dictates where the line or how it's connected to it. So anyways, that's a function that gets that. Then we got the vector, so it just gets a vector angle, and that angle is what tells us where and what quadrant it's in. And then down here is the quadrant of the line. And so the way that I kind of got the quadrant was manual, and probably not the best way, but I placed a tag here, and then I moved it around, and then I had a Python, or the Dynamo script had a vector set up, and it was just returning the angle, and then I wrote it down. I kind of moved this around, figured out where all these were, and at what point did it shift over, to the other quadrant, or whatever you want to call it. I kept doing that until I had good numbers, and that's what these are here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, I'm just running through this. I know this isn't the best way to learn Python. I don't expect you to know everything I'm talking about. So definitely, if you've got questions, reach out. But also, just jump in this and start playing around with it. If you're new to Python, I recommend checking out like Aussie BIM Guru's channel. He does some basic Python stuff. There's some basic, just general Python things out there. Let me know if you need help with that. I always forget to mention that when I'm going through this. It's a lot of stuff, and so and it didn't take me just 5 minutes to build this. It was a lot of trial and error, and just doing different things. There's also better ways to write this as well. So don't get demotivated by seeing this. You can definitely do it, and reach out if you need help. So line count, and I've got to remember what the heck this was. Oh yes, this is the text. So this was one way that I tried, and when I said like 15 characters before it goes to a new line, you can see here that I actually got 18. I don't know the logic behind this. I probably could have spent more time researching what the logic is, but this is what I came up with to figure out the line count. And you can see it's not too bad, but as soon as you start messing with it, you'll see some issues. You'll see that this isn't always centered, but it's a start. So if this is a usable script, it's something that you would want to use on your projects. I did it for fun because I saw Paul Albin's video, and I thought this would be a cool workaround for what he was talking about. But if this is something you realistically want to use, and if you start to mess with this and have trouble, let me know, and we can figure out what the actual logic is behind it. But essentially, this function just it just finds what the count is. So you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And then if I were to have another tag with 8 lines, it would know that, because it looks at every single tag as a separate item and then tries to find its quadrant. Or or tries to find the line count and creates a new type based off of that height. And then this is where we loop through it, and then we run our different functions. Oh, and then I guess I should say something here. So we got for tag in elements. If line underscore count tag is less than 2, then just use the regular tags and figure that out. Which our tags is, our tag, it would just tag it properly and that's it. But here else, then we would do multi-line dot append tag. And then down here, because now we have our multi-line tags separated and our tags separated into 2 different lists, I just run the different functions that they need on each of them. So it's not, I could say that this probably could be better. I think there's a couple things I would like to build into it that would make the logic better. Like we wouldn't create multi-types for each of the, or multiple types for different tags that may be tagging the same type of room or that have the same height in text. We would just use one of the existing types. I thought about the logic but never built it into it. If this is something that you actually would want to use, let me know and I can help you build that into it. Also, I don't know if this is the best way, because you may be questioning why I've got a bunch of functions. I like using functions. I think they're easy to control. I know what their purpose is. It's easy to test them. So I can run in, I can create, like in this instance, I know what needs to go into it. Pretty much all of these just have room tag going into it, but I needed to, I could take a function, put it into a separate Dynamo script or a separate Python node, run some test, create a test set, run it very easily, see what the output is, and continue doing that until I get what I need. I find it easy. It's also easy when it comes to working with like a list of stuff, because then I could just go for I in my input, my Dynamo input, run this function on I, and just do, out.append function I or whatever. So I find it easy, and that's essentially what I'm doing down here. So I've got this crazy out list. It goes for tag and tags, if tag blah blah blah, and it goes append, and it just does all that, and it appends everything to the proper thing, and it runs all the correct functions. So I find that it works. I see some people not use functions. They'll have a ton of for loops and a ton of if statements, and then things get messy as soon as the list comes in, different than how they built everything. Whereas in a function, if a list is multi, then you just build another function that says check it to see if it's 4 levels instead of 3 levels, stuff like that. So anyways, this is what I've got. You can see the script ran. It works. If this works for you, check it out. It's going to be on my GitHub. This was kind of a long video. Apologize for that, but thanks for the folks that stuck around. By the way, make sure to check out the Discord channel. It's an awesome community of people, so definitely check that out. Let me know if you have questions. Sorry I didn't show the rest of this script, but essentially after we figure out the stuff, we just associate the right types to it. That's what all of this other stuff does, because based off of the quadrant it is in, it'll tell us what types to associate it with. So anyways, like, this channel isn't me here to show you exactly what to do and how to do Dynamo, but it's to show you and inspire you. Here's things that you can do with it. Take the script. I don't believe, like, if you want to learn this stuff, you will. And I trust that if you want to use the script, you'll use it on your projects, and that's the best way to learn, in my opinion. So that's what this channel is. Just take the script, use it, tweak it if you need to. If it errors, fix it. Over time, you'll get very good at it. I can't say that I've ever learned anything from watching YouTube videos all the time, but at least it inspires me to create new things, and that's what kind of came of this. When I watched Paul Albin's video, I thought, hey, it would be cool if I could do something in Dynamo with it, and that's what I did. So if you have any questions, let me know, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.